Does that mean he says what he sees and gives you advice?
No,
or
no. He was just deeply in a state of presence and
it's energetic.
energetically
Okay.
communicating that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just knocked my socks off. It was unbelievable. And I was sold, and that was it. And I signed up for the group, and it was quite an adventure, quite a crazy adventure in many ways. And he had just come back from working with Oscar Ichazo in Arica, Chile. And Ichazo taught the system of the Enneagram, which is a system of 9 different personality types. And so Claudio was just back, I mean, like within a couple of months from that whole training. And that was part of what he was teaching us. So it was,
right.
We learned it within the context of spiritual unfoldment and spiritual development.
And this group you were in, I think it was called SAT, which stands for Seekers After Truth.
Right.
That sounds a fascinating title.
Well, he stole it from Gurdjieff. It's the same.
Okay.
It's the same name that Gurdjieff had for his little band of followers.
Right. Okay.
And there was a lot of a Gurdjieffian kind of feel to the way that Claudio was leading the group.
And it was, I call it, in Europe we call him Gurdjieff, but...
Gurdjieff.
Yeah, well, that's
okay.
the... But
okay. Uh-huh.
It was Gurdjieff, I think, who first used the Enneagram in a slightly different way.
Yes.
I don't know where he found it from, because it's supposed to be 5,000 years old. So do you want to just tell us a little bit, as you know, the history of the Enneagram from Gurdjieff towards Claudio?
Well, just backing up a little bit, I don't think anyone knows where the Enneagram came from. The rumor was, I think what Gurdjieff's, how do you say it?
We say Gurdjieff in Europe. Yeah,
Gurdjieff,
yeah.
Okay. What Gurdjieff said is that he learned it from the Sarmoon Brotherhood, secret brotherhood, probably in what's currently Afghanistan. And Claudio always said that he thought that probably Ichazo learned it there as well.
In Afghanistan?
In Afghanistan,
right,
yeah. Although he never really said. And later on he said that he channeled it, I think. I'm not quite sure if that's the exact way that he put it. But nobody knows for sure. And the Gurdjieffian way of using the Enneagram was quite different. It had to do with understanding cycles in the universe, like the movement of the planets and the days of the week and the musical scale. So different sets of cyclic processes were things that he used the Enneagram to chart. And Ichazo was really the first to use it to understand personal consciousness.
So he kind of maybe adapted it a bit, saw there was more potential in the Enneagram that was...
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he adapted it or if he learned it that way.
So what was your response when you first heard about the Enneagram? What did it do for you as such in terms of the journey you just started?
Well, it was a huge part of that journey. We basically lived and breathed the Enneagram. None of us somehow seemed to be working in those days, and we just spent all our time processing, and talking about our own experience and really bringing the map to life within our own direct experience. So it was a very, very powerful map for me and for my friends, my colleagues in SOT as well. Because it took a lot of the guesswork out of ourselves, out of some of the things about ourselves that maybe we wouldn't have wanted to see. Here it was in this map, and it was kind of like, yeah, that's right. This is how I am. These are parts of my personality.
So you fairly early on discovered what Enneagram type you were?
Yes, I was fairly sure that I was one of two of them, and there was one I would rather be, and of course I was the other one. And I just went up to Claudio one day and I asked him,
Yeah.
and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Well, I think I'm either this or that." And he said, "You're that." And I said, "Okay, I got it. Makes sense."
And that helped you understand yourself more,
Yes.
I guess, yeah?
Yes, and that was 38 years ago. And I think that I could say that there really hasn't been a day that's gone by since then that the Enneagram hasn't had some place in my understanding of myself and also of others. So it's for me, it's been a very powerful map.
So this group you were in, the SAT group, lasted about 4 years.
Yeah.
And you also learned other forms of spiritual practice and
Yes.
psychological explorations, etc.
Right.
So what were the other main influences in that group?
Well, Claudio dragged in every spiritual teacher who came through Berkeley at the time. So I met Tarthang Tulku, who's a very respected Tibetan Buddhist Lama. There was a Thai Theravada monk. He was a monk at the time, Dhiravamsa. And there were Hindu teachers, there were Sufi teachers. Let's see, what other traditions am I leaving out? Even Scientology. We met a couple of renegade Scientologists during that time.
So all in all, you had a really good, quite a wide picture of what was available.
Yes.
And you could see what worked for you and what was worth integrating and developing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So when you left that group, I think you then became involved with A.H. Alma's in the Ridhwan school, is that right? Or you became his student?
Well, it wasn't quite
for a time?
as direct as that. Actually, I came over here to meditate.
You came to Europe, to UK?
I came to the UK.
Okay.
Yeah. East Anglia, precisely.
East Anglia, right?
Yeah.
Whereabouts there?
This little tiny village called Leverington,
Where's
near
that?
Wisbeach.
Okay, it's nice
Near
round
Peterborough.
there. Yeah, it's very flat.
Very flat.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
The Thai monk that I mentioned, Dhiravamsa, had a meditation center there, and he invited me over to come become trained as a teacher of meditation.
Right.
So I came over and lived here for 2 years. I guess I was in my late-ish 20s. Yeah.
And then after that, you went back to the States? And
Yes. It was a very sheltered existence at the meditation center, and one day I was looking out the window and just kind of thinking things over, and I really felt that if what Buddhism had to teach were real, it had to be something that one could use out in the world. And I just felt a really strong calling to go back and to not live in a monastic. We weren't exactly monastic. We didn't take orders or anything, or take vows, but we were pretty isolated.
Yes.
Pretty insulated.
Yeah.
So I came back to the States, and all my friends started telling me about this fabulous work that my old housemate, actually, Hamid, had begun to develop, and I was, of course, green with envy for quite a while, and wouldn't have anything to do with it, and I kept hearing how fabulous it was. And
So you were a bit resistant for a time, were you?
Oh, yeah, a couple of years.